So today I have 6 ways for you to become more productive in anything that you're doing, whether that be the business that you're working on, the project that you've been assigned to, or task, or just some random activity at work, or even in your own activities that you're doing at home. And as I go through these things, I can guarantee as you implement them in your life, you will see dramatic changes in the amount of productivity that you have. The first step that I have for you to be more productive is to start all of your activities with a win. What that means is just getting something checked off the checklist right away. I would look for something that can be done pretty quickly and pretty easily. And so you can just see that progress bar of your completion just going up towards 100%. So after just a couple minutes, you can say, hey, I'm obviously one step closer. A big flaw that I see a lot of people do is that they'll sit down and the first thing they do is they decide to start brainstorming on a project, which is really great. But then after about 30 minutes of brainstorming or something like that, you look down and you do have some ideas, maybe, but the other problem is that you have not really completed anything. And just mentally, your mind just looks at that and you just feel depressed. And you're not feeling as motivated because you feel like you haven't been getting anywhere. So that quick accomplishment will bring more positive energy to you and through your workflow. And that'll just put you in a really good rhythm so that you can just get moving and get completing everything that you feel like you need to get done that day. The next thing about starting with a win is to make sure that you're not over-preparing. I see many people, they also just sit down at their desk and then they look around and like, well, before I get started, I gotta make sure everything's perfect. I gotta make sure I am comfortable. I gotta make sure I've eaten enough food, or that I've checked all my emails, or gone through my text messages, maybe done my routine through social media, or something like that, where they feel that they can just be in the perfect scenario. But there's a lot of times people just over prepare. They're just spending way too much time just shifting around, just making little tiny tweaks like, oh, before I get started, I just want to do this real quick just to feel ready, or do this. The point of starting with a win is just making sure that you just get started as fast as you can and get going and have that quick completion. So again, you can get that progress bar a little bit more completed towards your end goal. The next way that you can learn how to be more productive with your time is by learning how to increase the amount of time you can focus for. And what I use is a method that I call interval training. Interval training is extremely effective in endurance sports. I love to cycle. And when I'm cycling and training how to cycle, I use interval training to do it. And basically all that interval training is getting your heart rate up for a certain amount of time and then bringing it back down for a certain amount of time. Then bringing it up, then bringing it down. Getting your body used to spending longer and longer amounts of time conditioning your body to get used to that amount of effort. And so you can do the same thing when you're learning how to focus more, and so that you can become more productive in your time. And so you can use interval training in your work time as well. You don't have to just be on go mode from very beginning to very end. Because in fact, for most people when they begin trying to increase the amount of focus that they have, that's actually extremely difficult to do. And so what you can do is you can train up to that. Start with just 45-minute intervals of work. Set a timer for 45 minutes, and from the 45 minutes from beginning to end, you're working. Then once 45 minutes ends, take a 15-minute break. When you totally set work aside, you step away from your desk or wherever you're working and go for a walk or read a book. Just do something that gets your mind off of the work. Then come back and hit it hard for another 45 minutes, then take another 15-minute break. And keep repeating that process until you're done with your work for the day. And then over time, you can start increasing the amount of time that you're spending working. So the first week would be the 45 minutes with a 15-minute break, but then the next week would be 50 minutes with a 15-minute break, then 55 minutes with a 15-minute break, then 60 minutes with a 15-minute break. And you can keep working that up to as high as you feel you can handle. You can even start at a different number. You don't have to start with the 45 minutes. You can start at a lower number or a higher number, just as you train yourself up to become more focused so you can have a more productive day and work. And number 3 is to schedule out your productive time. This can be extremely helpful for you as you're able to look forward to your day and know this is exactly the times that I'm going to be really effective and working hard, and then these are the times that I have a break. It just gives your mind a great outline so it can pace itself throughout the day. It can know, okay, I'm going to be working hard from this time to this time, and I will get a break at this time. And it can also be really great so that you can be more productive when you work around people. One of the biggest killers of productivity is when people come in and they ask you questions in the middle of your productivity. You just all of a sudden are knocked off of your thought path, and you have to refocus everything after you're done answering their question. Or another big thing is somebody can send you a text message or an email, and then all of a sudden you stop to read that email or text message, and you're totally knocked off of the flow of things. And the only way to get back into the flow of things is to spend several minutes refocusing yourself on what you were just looking at, re-getting into those thought processes and such like that. And that leads up to number 4. You need to have your phone out of sight and out of sound. This will help minimize distractions and keep your focus. The reason why it needs to be out of sight and out of sound is so that you don't even have it in your mind at all. It's totally out of your consciousness, because for some reason, when your phone is just out there sitting next to your computer or something like that, you just have it in your mind right there, like, oh, I wonder if somebody has texted me something. Or even worse, your phone is laying face up and it lights up as soon as you get a notification, or it makes a huge buzz or a beep or something like that. Then your mind stops every single thing that it's been working on, all the creativity that you spent building up, and you look over at your phone and like, I wonder what it says. And actually, your phone is made by design to do that. It is made to distract you, to say, hey, look at me, pay attention to me, instead of paying attention of what you are needing to do and what you're currently working on. And like I said earlier, it totally destroys the flow of things, and you have to spend time re-getting back into that flow from earlier. And that takes time, and that wastes time that you could be more productive and more efficient with your time. Number 5 is to set deadlines and personal goals. So I've always heard my whole life that it's not a good idea to procrastinate. But the problem is with that is I've found that I actually do my best work when I procrastinate, because it puts me on a time crunch. For some reason, I just think better under pressure. But at the same time, I know that those people are right. It is not a good idea to procrastinate. So the question becomes, how do I procrastinate without procrastinating? Well, the answer is just what number 5 was, is to set goals and create your own personal deadlines. And once you have that deadline, you need to pretend like that is the real deadline. And that deadline obviously should be before the actual deadline, but you need to set it before that real deadline and pretend like it is the real deadline. The more that you convince yourself that it's a real deadline, the better that you'll be able to be at getting that done on time and it working as an effective tool for you completing your goals and all of your deadlines. And the last and 6th way to be more productive in your project or task is to end your project or task the way that you began it, with a win. This is extremely important, not only because it helps you get closer to your end goal, but what it does is it helps you tremendously in the future. What it does is it puts your mind in a very positive mindset. You're able to look back on the project for the day that you've been working on and think, that was a great project, and have positive feelings for it. Then you'll go to bed thinking back positively on it, like, wow, I accomplished something today, and I had a great finish to that. I cannot wait to work on that again in the future. And those positive feelings from the last thing that you worked on being a positive and a win for you will translate to positive feelings throughout the rest of the day, and then those positive feelings will naturally lead to more productivity the next time that you start on that project. Or when you work on more projects in the future, because you'll just feel more positive about what you can do and what you can accomplish. For that win at the end of the day, I wouldn't make it something that's extremely difficult to obtain, but also not something extremely easy, but something that's just right in the middle and just kind of pushes you just a little bit further. And if you're using that interval training that I recommended, it is okay if it goes slightly past those 45 minutes or whatever minutes that you'd set for yourself, because you just want to get that win. That matters more than anything right now, because the win is the most important for you to be successful now and also in the future. And there you have it. There are your 6 ways to guarantee that you can be more productive in your time. The more productive you are, the more successful you will be. So I want to see what you've done. Make sure to comment below on what you've done and how your productivity has changed in your life from watching this video. Also remember to subscribe, and you'll see more videos like this in the future. Thanks.